Headlines most affecting Abbotsford this week. Abbotsford police pulling over a prolific offender with a shotgun in his jacket. Abbey South MLA Bruce Banman jumps ship politically. Abbotsford will host the Canadian Walk for Veterans, and high school football back under the Friday night lights. Peter Lang is off this week. We will have more in sports. Our guest this week includes Gwen, who is with the Canadian Walk for Veterans. All right, Abbotsford, let's get started. Politics in the Fraser Valley, never a dull moment. And Abbotsford South MLA Bruce Banman made a shocker. He is leaving the BC United Party, formerly the Liberals, and he's going to the BC Conservatives. Now, since leader Kevin Falcon took over the United Party and went through the rebranding change, the old Liberals have actually fallen in the polls to third, behind the Conservatives. Banman feels he can make a difference wearing the blue stripes. abbyTV has reached out to him for comment. His reasons are on social media. And by the way, the next provincial election in about a year, October of 2024. Last Friday, abbyPD patrol officers found a motorcycle without license plates traveling along the 1900 block of McCallum. So they stopped him. He resisted arrest and tried to take off. Well, he's a prolific offender. 25-year-old Justin Walsh was arrested, and during the search, abbyPD found a loaded, sawed-off shotgun strapped to his chest. And yes, Walsh is facing a number of charges. Abbotsford Chamber of Commerce and the Abbey News welcoming nominations for the 27th Annual Business Excellence Awards. This year, 2 new categories have been added to the awards to highlight the success of Indigenous-led businesses as well as young professionals. The Abbotsford Chamber will recognize outstanding organizations in Abbotsford that strive for excellence in the community. The nominations are open until September the 22nd. The actual awards come out November 16th. City of Abbotsford is planning to construct a new picnic shelter in Swenson Park. This will be complementing the existing park amenities and will support small gatherings and events in the park. And this is to be year-round by providing picnic tables, shade, and weather protection. So construction of this new shelter is expected to start this winter. The park will remain open for the public during construction. Some rent relief, albeit not much. For the second consecutive year, BC's maximum allowable rent increase is being set below the inflation rate. The maximum increase for 2024 is 3.5%, and BC landlords can only increase rent once every 12 months. Back on September the 1st, BC Highway Patrol was supposed to stop attending accident crash sites and then just key on infractions. In a letter shared with a number of Fraser Valley councils and the FVRD, Mission Mayor Paul Horn gave abbyTV a copy of that letter outlining concerns for BCHP to step back from those accident investigations. And then at a recent Mission Council meeting, he said he actually owes a debt of gratitude to Chilliwack's Mayor Ken Popoff and a couple of the councillors there, Jason Lum and Bud Mercer, for speaking about this controversy and talking with the Provincial Minister Farnsworth and hoping that they'll bring some clarity to the scenario, quote unquote. Well, UBCM, the Union of BC Municipalities, is set to meet in Vancouver September the 18th to the 22nd. This will be in Vancouver, as we mentioned. The role of BC Highway Patrol is expected to be brought up. The annual Canadian Walk for Veterans will be taking place at Mill Lake Park in Abbotsford on Saturday, September the 23rd. The theme for this year's walk is to recognize the contributions made by military families who play a critical role in enhancing the well-being of not only military personnel and veterans, but particularly those with service-related health conditions. Now, net proceeds will go to the Mainland BC Military Family Resource Center. Organizer Gwen is joining us for a talk about this, and then following that interview with her, high school football back on the gridiron. We'll have sports. This week continues with Gwen, who has been involved with, you've been involved with the Navy, you've been involved with, what, Legion and Anavets, or just Legion? Just Legion. Canadian Walk for Veterans is coming up. And it had humble beginnings. When did this start? Was it about 3 years ago, 4 years ago in Burnaby?
Actually, about 6 years ago
okay.
in Burnaby. This is the second year that they're having the walk in Abbotsford.
Okay, and that's the 23rd, I believe, in Jubilee Park?
Saturday the 23rd from 10 in the morning until 1 o'clock. But actually, we can start accepting registrations on site starting at 9.
Okay. What is this all about? A lot of people think veterans, well, wait a minute, or is it... And you actually have it in your media release, which I found kind of humorous. It's not just old veterans, it's anybody who's been in military service.
A veteran is anyone who has completed their basic training and been honorably discharged. So it could be someone who's just started, and for some reason they were maybe medically discharged or so on, and they are legally considered a veteran.
What is the walk trying to do? What's the message or mission statement of all of this? Because it's cool just to have everybody together. A lot of people haven't seen each other or spoken with each other face to face, but the reason for the walk, what's behind this?
Well, this year's walk has the theme Military Families, and it's Heroes of the Home Front. But the walk is used as a fundraiser to help not only veterans, but present military personnel, some first responders, and their families. And one thing that's a lot of people don't realize, that it's not just the military personnel that are having sacrifices for this country. It's their families, too. They sacrifice just as much. So with the charity we're supporting this year, which the Fraser Valley one is supporting the Mainland BC Military Families Resource Centre. And they will help with issues, say, with people having to be posted so many times, it's hard for readjustment, getting jobs, kids changing schools, which is a major problem with some of them, financial problems, marital problems, and there's a lot of different issues. Or if someone is releasing from the military, helping them readjust to civilian life.
Yeah, I want to touch on that because I hear that more and more. I mean, we always hear about military brats and kids bouncing around. But when you're coming out of the military back into quote unquote the real world, it's apples and oranges for a lot of these people that have to deal with it. And it's not just men, it's women as well that serve.
Yes, because in the military, you have your own family there, your comrades. You have a set of strict discipline. You've got your uniforms. It's very rigid in a lot of cases. Then when you go back into civilian life, you find the people that you were friends with or dealt with before have a different attitude, or you have changed, not they necessarily have changed. And it's sometimes hard to adjust to that, or adjust to finding a new job and trying to get into the different routines for that type of thing. And that's assuming that you haven't got an injury or PTSD or something like that, which is another barrier to deal with.
I've talked with a number of members of the military, and the first thing that usually comes out of their mouth is the PTSD, and it's obviously when there's one very prominent one here in the Valley, Jim Newton, that talked about Afghanistan and that, but it's not just Afghanistan. It could be deployed anywhere, and you have PTSD for whatever various reasons.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right, and it's something that if someone just meets you, it's not obvious.
Yeah.
So it's one of those hidden illnesses that people think, oh, why are you parking in this disabled lot? You're not disabled, when in fact you are.
Yeah. So, how many, do you know how many communities across the country that are doing this?
There are, this year there's 12 cities.
Just 12?
Just 12 in Canada, and 5 of those 12 are in BC.
Okay. And of course, Abbotsford and Chilliwack, the old CFB Chilliwack. And don't get veterans started about CFB Chilliwack. We could argue that for the longest time. So the Walk for Veterans, that is the 23rd. You're all over social media for anybody that wants to get information?
Yes, they go to www.canadianwalkforveterans.com. And if they want the Fraser Valley one, it's /Fraser Valley, Fraser _Valley. And I'm very proud to say that of all the 12, I've just heard that there's only one city that has more people registered than we do. That's Kingston, Ontario, and that's a military city.
CFB Kingston, yeah.
So let's beat them.
Gwen Settle, a big thank you.
My pleasure to be here.
You can be here anytime. And you're watching This Week. abbyTV Sports, the Langley Rams had no problem shutting down the Kodiak's offense, beating Prince George 62-0. So the Rams are on the road next week when they will see, ironically, the Kodiaks on their home turf on Saturday. And tune into bcfctv.com or TELUS Channel 1981 to watch the game. Last Friday, the Robert Bateman Timberwolves senior varsity team won the preseason Battle of Abbotsford, a 19-13 win over the WJ Mowat Hawks. Bateman's preseason record at 2-0. The Hawks, they're 0-2. The two teams head to Coquitlam's Centennial Turf Field on Friday for a special Friday night preseason doubleheader. The Hawks will take on Terry Fox. That's at 4 o'clock. Bateman takes on Centennial at 7. Meanwhile, the Abbotsford Panthers opened their preseason with a 41-20 loss to Okanagan Mission, they now travel to New Westminster to continue their exhibition schedule. That's coming up on Friday. So Abbotsford and Bateman, they actually open up their regular season on the 22nd. The Hawks, they'll start the real season September the 29th. The main floor of the Ag Rec building will be transformed into 12 indoor pickleball courts, and that's starting later this month. The news comes on the heels of Top Spin Pickleball Club, an indoor facility with 2 full courts that opened recently on McClure. The Abbotsford Recreation Center also provides indoor play and outdoor courts available at Jubilee Park in Bradner. Now, those wanting to use the courts at Ag Rec, you got to be members of the APA. That cost is $40 annually. There's also a $5 per person fee for a 2-hour slot to play at Ag Rec to cover all the rental costs. Just go to the Ag Rec Center's social media for more information. And the Abbotsford Canucks, we're not going to forget about them. Training camp has started. The regular season is not that far off. The Baby Canucks start the new season on the road in Laval. That's Friday, October the 13th. The home opener is Friday, October the 20th at the Abbotsford Centre against Calgary. And after the break, Cari with weather. abbyTV weekend weather. So, Cari, is it a mixed bag of everything this weekend?
Thanks, Don. Not everything is happening in the weather this week, but we do have a great weekend coming up into the 26th, 24s. Sunday starting to cool off quite a bit, and then look at that. Not even over 20 for the next week. It's definitely pumpkin spice season, people. Did you know the first time pumpkin spice was mentioned in a cookbook was in the late 1700s? And this year, Starbucks is celebrating its 20th anniversary of its pumpkin spice latte. And did you know, even though pumpkin spice does not normally contain pumpkin, Starbucks makes their latte with pumpkin puree in its syrup. So yes, people, you are drinking pumpkin. Love it or like it, have a great week.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story that you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note and your pictures and video to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. I'm Don Lehn.